Hello, hello! This is Gemini, your friendly neighborhood spy. Today, in honor of International Women's Day, I decided to celebrate by discussing and celebrating women throughout the Fire Emblem series that I, as a woman, believe are truly strong people and characters. I've chosen 5 different characters to talk about today, but I'd like to make a few things clear before I get started. First, this discussion is coming purely from a writing perspective. I'm not taking the characters' usefulness as units into account at all. Next, I am in no way trying to say that these 5 characters are definitively the strongest women in the series. There are many strong women all throughout Fire Emblem, and many more besides these 5 who are deserving of recognition for their leadership and feats of strength. I actually originally had a much longer list prepared, but ultimately decided that focusing on 5 today would be a good place to start. I would really like to make more videos like this in the future, talking about more of the characters I had originally planned on including, so look forward to those. Also, the 5 characters that I will be discussing today are in no way ranked against each other. To me, it is fundamentally against the spirit of celebrating the progress that women have made by ranking and comparing them against each other. These 5 characters are great examples of strong women. It isn't a competition. And their order in the video is more or less random. I tried to pick characters from throughout the various eras of the series, and I also wanted to talk about female characters besides the lords. I may talk about some of them in future videos, but I thought it would be nice to take some time to appreciate some of the characters who, while not the center of their game's narratives, are nonetheless awesome and deserving of attention. I will be analyzing the strengths of these characters according to 3 different qualities. The first is leadership skills. Not all of these characters will necessarily be noted for leadership, but it is an important trait of at least some of the characters who I chose to include. The second is impressive feats and accomplishments, which I feel speaks for itself. And finally is strong moral convictions. I wanted to focus on a positive portrayal of strength, which is why I decided to include this third quality. Also, I believe that it takes a great deal of strength to stand up for what one believes in, especially when faced with impending danger or hostility. Without further ado, let's begin with the first character for today. We're going to start this list off with a real powerhouse. None other than Queen Elincia Crimea from Path of Radiance and Radiance On. Elincia was raised as the princess of the Tellius nation of Crimea, a monarchy located between the nations of Dain and Gallia. Though Elincia is the daughter of Crimea's ruler, her existence is not known to the general public. Her father's brother, Lord Renning, is widely beloved by the Crimean public, and they believe that he is the heir set to take over as the nation's next king. To avoid public outcry, Elincia has lived in secret from the people of her country, living instead in peace with her cherished retainers, sibling warriors Geoffrey and Lucia, and a sage named Bastion. When Crimea is suddenly attacked by their northern neighbor Dain, Elincia is forced to flee for her life. Her parents slaughtered, her uncle Renning nowhere to be found, and her own retinue of knights killed, Elincia makes a desperate escape into the Crimean woods while being pursued by Dain soldiers. She manages to escape only when she encounters a mercenary group who works out of Crimea, the Grail Mercenaries. Although there is initially division among the mercenaries about what to do with Elincia, some are even in favor of handing her over to her pursuers, they ultimately agree to help her. With their aid, Elincia makes for their southern neighbor of Gallia, a Laguz nation that is allied with Crimea. When she arrives in Gallia, Elincia meets with the nation's mighty Lion King. Although he is sympathetic to her plight, he is unable to grant her immediate aid in trying to reclaim Crimea. While their nations are allied, that alliance extends only among the rulers. The people of Crimea and Gallia are actually hostile to one another based on Laguz and Bjork prejudices. He advises Elincia to travel to the Begnion Empire and seek their aid in her fights. Elincia is initially met with resistance from the Begnion Council, but with some help from the Grail Mercenaries' young leader Ike, she is able to win their aid as they plan to win back Crimea and defeat Dain's ruler, King Ashnard. Upon returning to Crimea, Elincia is finally reunited with her dear retainers. She is also given her grandmother's armor, sword, and Pegasus, and finally joins the battle herself as a Pegasus Knight. Once she, the mercenaries, and the myriad of other allies they've gathered along the way defeat Ashnard, Elincia reclaims her lost homeland and takes her rightful place as the Queen of Crimea. Though she has some doubts about her own capabilities, Ike reminds her of all that she has accomplished thus far and assures her that she is more than capable of ruling her beloved kingdom. Throughout Path of Radiance, Elincia proves that she is knowledgeable about the politics of the world she lives in, which ultimately allows her to attain the allies that she needs to win back her homeland. Additionally, despite the overwhelming odds she is faced with, Elincia possesses an unstoppable tenacity, which allows her to see her mission through to the end. She loves the people of her country and will do whatever it takes to liberate them from Ashnard. While Elincia displays impressive strength and determination in Path of Radiance, she is put to the test yet again in its sequel, Radiance On. In this game, Elincia is 3 years into her rule as Queen of Crimea, and she is faced with a rebellion led by Ludwig, a Crimean noble who believes that she isn't strong enough to lead their country and wants her to step down and make him the King of Crimea instead. While Elincia would love nothing more than to crush him, she has been put in an impossible situation. Ludwig has captured Lucia, one of her beloved retainers whom she has known since childhood. To taunt Elincia, Ludwig has Lucia standing at the gallows, a rope around her neck, and is threatening to hang her unless Elincia surrenders. Elincia loves Lucia, and the thought of abandoning her tears her apart. However, Elincia cannot let a man like Ludwig take control of her beloved Crimea. In the end, she makes the decision to refuse Ludwig's demand, despite how it tears at her. It's an incredible and heart-wrenching moment for her character, where she has resigned herself to a tremendous and agonizing personal loss for the sake of her country and her people. Thankfully, her old friends the Grail mercenaries show up just in time to rescue Lucia. Though she doesn't ultimately end up losing Lucia, I don't feel that the result undermines the weight of her decision at all. Elincia had already made the call before the Grail mercenaries arrived. While she is incredibly relieved that her friend was saved, she was willing to lose her for the sake of her people. Following a battle and the defeat of Ludwig once and for all, Elincia goes on to join the Grail mercenaries and the other heroes as they prepare for their most impossible challenge yet, a battle against a goddess. She is a member of the Alliance that together fights for the future of Beork and Laguz alike, and Elincia personally takes part in the battles from atop her trusted Pegasus wielding her mighty sword, Amity. Elincia is an incredibly strong example of a powerful female character in the Fire Emblem games. She has a long list of heroic accomplishments across both of the Talius games, including evading capture by Daean soldiers, hiring a group of mercenaries, attaining the aid of multiple nations through diplomacy, personally taking part in the battle to liberate her homeland, ascending to the role of queen, quelling a rebellion, and fighting in a battle to save the people of Talius from the wrath of a goddess, a mother-fudging goddess. Elincia faces impossible decisions as the Queen of Crimea. She keeps a level head and accepts the sacrifices that she must make for the sake of her country. Despite all that she has been through, Elincia remains a kind and compassionate soul who values mercy, even sparing the man who tried to kill her friend. She loves her friends dearly, and despite their willingness to lay down their lives for her, begs them to keep themselves safe since she couldn't bear the thought of losing them. Without any doubt, so long as they have Elincia, the people of Crimea are in good hands. Our next strong female character for today is Nino, the young Alibian mage from Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade. Nino is a character that I've always really liked, and while she is a very different character with a very different story from Elincia, I believe she is also a positive portrayal of strength. In Blazing Blade, Nino is introduced as the daughter of Sonia, the wife of Brendan Reed. Brendan Reed is the leader of an organization known as the Black Fang, a group of assassins that serve the common folk of the land by eliminating corrupt nobles that harm the people living in their lands. Nino is fond of Brendan Reed's sons, Lloyd and Linus, and views them as her brothers. She is proud to be a member of the Black Fang, as she believes in the cause they claim to stand for, dispensing justice in the name of the common men and women. While Nino has a positive relationship with the Reed family and is accepted among them, she is treated terribly by her mother, a powerful mage named Sonia. Nino has learned from Sonia that her love is conditional, and no matter what Nino does, she can't seem to figure out what those conditions are. She desperately wants to prove herself, so when Sonia assigns her to go on her first mission, she is determined to do her best and make her mother proud. Sonia even promises her that if she succeeds, she'll show her the love and affection she has craved all these years. Nino is assigned to work alongside one of the group's most dangerous assassins, the man Jafar, known as the Angel of Death. She previously treated Jafar's wounds when he was injured and ensured that he arrived safely at a Black Fang base. Jafar, who has never known anything but commands and violence, doesn't know what to make of Nino's concern for him. When the two assassins arrive at the home of their target, the young Prince of Bur and Zephiel, They sneak inside and find their way to his bedroom. Standing outside the door, they overhear Zephiel as he prays. Zephiel, as it turns out, has a difficult relationship with his father. No matter what Zephiel does, his father, the King of Bern, disapproves of him and scorns him. All Zephiel wants is for his family to be together again, to be happy. Nino, knowing the pain of having a parent who does not love her, feels compassion for the prince. She understands exactly how he feels. Therefore, she makes the decision right there that she cannot go through with this assassination. By refusing to complete the mission, Nino knows that she is giving up her only chance to gain her mother's approval. She is giving up her very life, as the consequence for failure among the Black Fang is death. Regardless, she will not harm the prince. She even tells Jafar that she accepts her own death at his hands, but begs him to spare the prince's life. Nino is a deeply compassionate character who is driven by empathy. She cares about people she has never met and is selflessly willing to sacrifice herself for them. And standing up for what she believes in, she even manages to thaw the icy heart of the Angel of Death himself. Nino's convictions and compassion have an unalterable effect on Jafar. For the first time, he turns away from his orders and chooses to side with Nino, declaring that she is worthy of life. As Eliwood, Hector, and Lyn rush to the prince's aid, they fight off the other members of the Black Fang who arrive to see that the job was done. Nino chooses to join them and persuades Jafar to come along as well. With the assassins defeated and the prince's safety ensured, Nino's story isn't over. She feels that she has to confront Sonia. Regardless of what she has done, Sonia is still her mother. She needs to speak with her about all that has happened. When she reunites with Sonia at one of the Black Fang's bases, Sonia finally confirms once and for all that Nino is not actually her daughter. Nino was born to a family of powerful mages. When she was an infant, Sonia and other servants of Nurgle murdered her family. Nino was the only survivor, spared because Nurgle believed that she could be useful. He instructed Sonia to raise Nino as her own child. Sonia carried out Nurgle's orders faithfully, but she considers Nino to be a waste, an example of useless human garbage who would be better off dead. Supported by her new allies, Nino confronts her quote-unquote mother in battle. And while Sonia continues to berate and insult her, Nino finally strikes back and delivers the final blow, thus putting an end to her family's killer. Nino's compassion and convictions guide her out of an abusive family life and into a group of people who support her and care about her. She loses much, including both of her brothers and her adopted father, whom she loved dearly. However, she continues to fight and eventually helps defeat Nurgle and save all of Alib. While Nino's kindness and ideals define her place as a hero, she is also an incredibly talented mage. In the majority of the Fire Emblem worlds, magic is cast from spellbooks, tomes. And yet Nino was able to cast powerful magical spells despite not being able to read. That's right, Nino is completely illiterate. She has studied magic by speaking with the spirits of the world, which are the power behind the force of magic in Alib. For most people, this is extremely difficult, but Nino finds it fun. This speaks not just to her friendly personality, but also to her incredible talent as a practitioner of the arcane arts. Regardless of where Nino's story takes her after the events of Blazing Blade, she will doubtlessly continue to hone her craft and protect those in need wherever she goes. The third character I'll be discussing today is Minerva, the Red Dragoon from the Archanea games. The middle child of the Macedonian royal siblings, Minerva lived a life of peace in her home country. When her older brother Michaelis became a knight, she followed after him and trained in the art of battle as well. Like her brother, she specialized in fighting from the air atop a wyvern, wielding her mighty axe Hotclair. Minerva even formed her own squadron of knights known as the White Wings, leading her fellow Macedonian warriors, the sisters Paula, Katria, and Est. However, things took a turn for the worse when Minerva's father, after refusing to lend aid to the rising Dolour nation, was murdered. Minerva was suspicious of her older brother, knowing that he and her father did not have a good relationship, but her suspicions were confirmed when her younger sister Maria was taken prisoner and held as a hostage. Michaelis used Minerva's love for her sister against her, forcing her to submit to his rule and serve him as a wyvern knight of Macedon. Minerva served Michaelis reluctantly, biding her time as she waited for an opportunity. She saw her chance at last when Prince Marth of Altia liberated her sister. At last, Minerva was free of her brother's manipulations. Minerva knew that her brother's support of Dolor was wrong. While she is a blunt individual with a reputation for being strict, Minerva is also a kind and genuinely humble person who takes on a sisterly role to those she is close with. She struggled with the knowledge that she was on the wrong side of this conflict, that she was aiding her country's descent into darkness. Once her sister was safe, she was eager to join Marth's army and fight against the rule of Medius. Even though Minerva knew that she would be fighting against her own countrymen, she can't stand the idea of her nation being further corrupted by Medius, and she wants to see it return to the light. With that conviction behind her, Minerva, alongside Maria, fights to put an end to Medius' evil ploys. Eventually, Minerva is forced to face Michaelis in combat. Though she hates all that he has done, she can't bring herself to strike the killing blow. Even so, with Michaelis and Medius defeated, the Macedon throne sits empty. Despite having no desire to rule, Minerva ascends to her rightful place as the ruler of her beloved country. However, in the conflict which takes place during Mystery of the Emblem, things take a turn for the worse. Minerva is defeated in combat by an uprising among her own people. She suffers grievous wounds, and her survival is doubted, but she pulls through after receiving unexpected aid from Michaelis, who takes her to safety so she can recover. While in Cadane, she is reunited with Marth and joins his quest. She has been through a great deal, but Minerva's trials are far from over. Her beloved sister Maria has been taken by Medius' worshippers, intended as a sacrifice to resurrect the Dark Dragon himself. Minerva takes up Hauteclaire once more, ready to do what it takes to save her sister. On her journey, she encounters her brother once again, except this time, he is the one who is wounded and standing on death's door. Despite everything that he has done, Minerva saves her brother and sets him back on the right path, allowing him to join Marth's army and fight alongside her. In the final battle against Medius, Minerva finds her sister entranced by the Dark Dragon, a sacrifice waiting to be devoured in the name of his resurrection. Only Minerva, her devoted sister, is able to get through to her and remind her of who she is, that she is not a puppet of Medius. Finally freed from his control, Maria joins Minerva as they destroy the Dark Dragon once and for all. Though they will never be the same again after all that they have been through, Minerva stands victorious alongside her siblings. In a stunning display of humility, Minerva chooses to turn the nation of Macedon over to Prince Marth, whom she trusts to lead her people well. She gives up her place as a princess and a warrior, instead choosing to live a peaceful life caring for orphans in the monastery of the priestess Lina. Minerva is a character who shows us the value of devotion to loved ones through her steadfast determination to save her sister. She also represents the virtue of humility. Despite her prowess in battle as a warrior and a commander, she did not feel suited to rule a nation. Instead, she chose to follow her heart and chose a life of service to children who had lost their families. While Minerva's strength as a warrior cannot be denied, her selfless devotion to those who need her is perhaps her greater strength. Next is one of my favorite characters in Fire Emblem, the brave princess La Richelle of Rausten from Sacred Stones. In Sacred Stones, La Richelle is first encountered as Erika's band of mercenaries is forced to fight a group of revenant monsters attacking the countryside. La Richelle arrives on the scene alongside her vassals, the loyal warrior Dazla and the reluctant rogue Renak. Though eager to battle the monsters and purge the land of evil, La Richelle agrees to Renak's advice that it would be best to find a safe way down the cliff they're standing on, rather than breaking their necks as they charge heedlessly down the mountainside. This, unfortunately, means that La Richelle and her company arrive too late to assist in the battle. Not one to be put out, however, La Richelle charges forward toward future battles against evil. While La Richelle initially presents herself as a warrior of light on a crusade whose divine mission is to purge the land of obscenities, her words, not mine, she is actually the princess of Magvel's northeastern nation of Rausten, and is the heir to the throne. Tragically, her parents were killed while fighting monsters in the Darkling Woods. As a result, she has decided that it is her mission to fight them as well, and to prevail. However, La Richelle maintains her secret identity for some time, as she continues to run into Erika and her company on several occasions without giving away who she really is. She eventually joins Erika's company when they encounter a group of monsters attacking an old, ruined building. Though Erika encourages La Richelle to flee and find safety, La Richelle is eager to join the battle and show Erika what she can do. After the fight is won, she joins Erika's retinue, declaring that it must be fate that brought them together. Larichel finally reveals her status as royalty when she tells Erika that the Knights of Rausten will soon be coming to their aid. Obviously, Erika asks how she could know such a thing, and Larichel announces that she is Rausten's rightful princess. Larichel continues to fight alongside Erika's growing army until they arrive in Rausten, with the intention of securing its sacred stone, the last one that remains in which they will need to defeat the Demon King. It's impossible to talk about Larichel without discussing the humor of her character. Her faith in herself is absolutely unshakable, and she won't be intimidated by anyone. Her fellow disguised royal Joshua, not believing in the strength of her faith, challenges her to a series of games of chance, and proceeds to lose every single one of them. Even when he rigs the games in his favor, Larichel wins anyway. Princess Larichel also has one of the most iconic lines in the series when she tells Frelia's Prince Inez, "Were I not a holy woman, I would beat you senseless." Although Larichel is a character who occasionally treads into outright arrogance, she is also a kind and supportive friend. When their party arrives in Rausten, Erika is understandably weary and morose about having lost Renee's sacred stone to the Demon King, to her friend Leon, whom she believes she could trust. Larichel doesn't try to spare Erika from the truth. She tells her friend that Leon is gone, and he has to be defeated. However, she understands that it isn't that simple for Erika. Leon was her friend. She asks Erika to consider what the Leon she knew would want her to do now, if he were here. And she encourages Erika to take her time in answering. In this moment of warmth, Larichel proves that she is not only a warrior of light, but an honest and loyal friend. Throughout the game, Larichel's unbreakable confidence and self-assurance inspire the people around her. When demonic monsters roam the land, she wastes no time taking up arms and charging into battle to protect innocents, even those outside her own kingdom. Dazla, ever devoted to her, is inspired every day by her strength and courage. Even Renak, despite his complaints about not being paid, continues to follow Larichel anyway. When the Stone of Renee is destroyed, Larichel reminds her friends that hope is not lost. The Stone of Rausten still remains. And when the Demon King is on the verge of rising again, she is armed with the radiant magic of light to fight back against the darkness. In addition to her talents as a wielder of holy magic, Larichel's strength is her confidence in herself, her irrepressible optimism, and her ability to inspire those around her. There can be no doubt that wherever she goes, the world is a brighter place. Moving on. The final character we'll be discussing today is Awakening's Lissa, the energetic young princess of Ulysses. In Awakening, Lissa is introduced as a member of the Shepherds, a group of warriors who protect the people of Ulysses from harm. Though she cannot fight, she aids the group with healing magic. Of course, she is soon revealed to be a princess of Ulysses, one of the Exalt's two younger siblings alongside her older brother Crom. Compared to her siblings, Lissa is more upbeat and plain-spoken, somewhat unlike the quintessential idea of a noble woman. She enjoys playing pranks, snorts when she laughs, and according to the Japanese version of the game, is the most prone to skip around the camp. Her older brother feels protective over her and even goes so far as to call her delicate, a descriptor to which he adamantly objects. After all, she's the one making sure the rest of them make it home alive. In addition to all of this, Lissa is also a fiercely independent thinker who insists on judging people for herself rather than being influenced by rumors. Despite many negative opinions of Maribel throughout the country's nobility, Lissa wanted to meet Maribel for herself before making any judgments about her, and the two of them became fast friends. Lissa's willingness to befriend Maribel and accept her for who she is has inspired a great deal of loyalty from Maribel, who considers Lissa to be her most treasured friend. While all is sunny on the surface, Lissa is faced with tremendous trials over the course of the game's story. She is a young girl who regularly faces the horrors of war in order to protect her country and her family. She is forced to watch as terrible monsters, the Risen, attack her nation and its people. And though she does all she can to help, she can't save everyone. This fact is perhaps never more impactful than on the day that she watches her beloved older sister Emerin plummet to her death in order to prevent their nation's enemies from getting their hands on the Fire Emblem. Despite her loss, Lissa carries on, determined to protect her family and her country. In the game, as all of us have played it, her niece Lucina travels back in time alongside the other children of Crom's allies to prevent Crimea from winning and sending humanity into a hopeless future of darkness and death. Lissa and her allies succeed, and Elincia is safe. However, there is another version of events, and another future for Lissa which we as players never witness. In the original timeline, Lissa is one of the only survivors among the original group of heroes. She has lost her sister and her brother, the two older siblings she adored, and what she had never expected, never wanted, has come to pass. She is the exalt of Elincia. In Paralogue 5, Scion of Legend, Lissa asks Lucina what she is like in the time that Lucina left behind, and Lucina says that Exalt Lissa is warm and kind amid all the death and destruction that has been laid at humanity's doorstep. In their darkest hour, Lissa is a beacon of hope to those around her. While we never see this version of Lissa for ourselves, I can only imagine the pain she feels beneath the warmth and kindness that she displays. She endured a difficult childhood with a tyrannical father, with the help of her older siblings, but has lost both of them. She has watched her beloved homeland suffer under the shadow of the Dark Dragon, and has her own scars from countless battles. Not only that, but the man she came to love, whomever it may be, has perished as well. All that she knew before is truly gone, and now all that remains are the children of her allies, struggling with every breath to live one more day in this awful world that they have inherited. I can only imagine the love she felt for them when she let them go, to a future where they would have a chance to live. The hope that must have swelled in her heart, combined with the despair of being left, at last, well and truly on her own, never knowing whether they would succeed. Letting go of her own son, that he might have a chance in a world not yet fallen to darkness. We never get to meet this version of Lissa, but I find her to be an incredibly compelling character. However, even in the timeline where Crimea is defeated, Lissa still has her own problems and concerns. Beneath her friendly demeanor, she has also struggled with the fear that she isn't related to her siblings since, unlike them, she does not bear a brand of the Exalt, the mark which identifies them as descendants of the hero King Marth. All of her blood relatives have one except for her, which has led her to worry that she is not actually a part of her family. I think it's a really nice moment when she meets Owain, and he reveals that he does in fact bear the brand, which, seeing as he is her son, proves that she really is a part of the family that she loves. It's a nice touch for such a sunny character to have a fear like that, and struggle with it in silence, only even speaking of it when she finally has a chance to address it. It shows that, all along, Lissa has been more than just a light-hearted youth. She is not cheerful because she's too childish to recognize the horrors of her world. Rather, she chooses to hide away her darker thoughts in favor of sharing light with those around her. Choosing the light in the darkest of times is a consistent theme in her story, and is the source of her tremendous strength of character. Lissa shows us how to have fun, to love openly, to lead with kindness, and how to hold on to hope when faced with unimaginable tragedy. If there is one word that definitely doesn't describe Lissa, I think we can all agree it's delicate. Thus concludes today's presentation on strong women in the Fire Emblem series. This series has featured strong, playable female characters all the way back from its earliest installments, and there are so many more that I'd like to talk about. In the future, I'd really like to make more videos like this, so let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, have a wonderful day, and Gemini out.